The Broncos are back, and we are 1 week away from another huge Broncos game. That game can't get here quick enough, but we're back from the bye week just as the Broncos are. Todd Davis, Henry Chisholm, Zac Stevens rolling with you on the DNVR Broncos Podcast. Fellas, how was the bye week?
It felt good. I slept in for a little bit. Definitely something I haven't done in a long time. And I felt relaxed, man. Broncos didn't play. We couldn't lose, but also we couldn't win. So overall, pretty good week.
It was incredible. It was everything I'd hoped it would be.
Wow.
I went to the gym every day. A couple days I went twice. I took I think I got 3 naps in during the bye week. I feel refreshed. I'm all ready to just Broncos are back. And I just really hope they don't blow it on Monday and then we're back to the season is dead again. I am ready for a run and some football, and hopefully that happens.
Yeah, me too. I hope so too. Very relaxing. I watched so much football. Yeah. My wife was feeling a little under the weather, so she didn't want to do anything. So college football all day Saturday, NFL all day Sunday, and we got to see the Bills lay an egg last night against the Bengals, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Just, are the Bills not as daunting of a team as we once thought they were? I believe before the season, Henry and Ryan made the case that outside of the Chiefs games, this Bills game was the hardest game on the schedule.
Yep.
I'm not sure if that's the case. I'm excited to ask you that later and see if you still take that stand, Henry. But the Broncos, it's a weird week this week because they had the bye. Sean gave the players off from Tuesday until today. And let's just kind of talk about, is that usual, Todd, to have a full week off in the NFL for a bye?
No. He's definitely showing a lot of love to those guys. I think most of the time you get 2 or 3 days.
Yep.
Because I think teams don't really, you trust your players, but too much time away, you probably going to get into something.
Yeah.
And thankful for Sean. I think we didn't hear anything about anybody on the news. Nobody made headlines. Everybody was pretty smart. So hopefully they got some good rest.
Yeah, and that's the thing though, is you trust all your players. There's just 69 of them if you include the practice squad. The numbers there are just not in your favor. All it takes is one guy to do something dumb. And all of a sudden
one friend, one player's friend that does something stupid now. Everybody's
you
messed
trust
up.
all of them individually, but that's a lot of trust for 69 people.
And I think Todd, when speaking of that number, Henry, I think when you were on the team, Vic Fangio was talking about the bye week and said, they're young men and they have urges, and you got to keep 69 guys from doing things. And
he's not wrong.
That's probably the best thing that we're talking about today is that we're not talking about something that went down.
Yeah.
Someone was arrested. Someone got injured. Especially the Broncos are super healthy at this point in the season right now. We're talking about one injury before the bye week. I think Dwayne Washington was a little banged up and he still played in the game. So we're talking about a very healthy team. It's just
touch
where
wood.
The Broncos want to be. Yeah.
Touch
wood. I touch wood.
We're not, That's the thing though, is you kind of do expect somebody to say what was the Brian Greasy thing? He tripped over a dog in the driveway.
And air quotes.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what happened. It's you slipped, somebody spilled something in the kitchen. No, you did something dumb and you're hurt, but so far so good. Hopefully there's nothing mysterious on the injury report because we'll get one of those on Thursday, right?
Yep.
So
exactly. So
far so good.
Todd, did you ever experience that? Not yourself. I'm not going to press you on who, but was there ever anything where something happened with one of your teammates and it came out in the news as different than what actually happened?
Maybe so, but we've had guys get on my teams. We've had guys get arrested on the bye in there.
Yep.
The whole arresting officer, everything, all the footage is on TMZ or something 2 days later. So has some crazy situations for sure.
Yeah. I played for the Broncos, and the cop's like, Okay, what? So I don't care.
The
I
thing
know
is,
it sucks because you get it on camera that one time,
Yeah.
but 95% of the time it works.
exactly. Like everybody's like, how could you do that? You just look so dumb. It's like, well, because it was never supposed to come out.
Yeah.
Like, it's honestly like, in my opinion, bad for the cops to do it. Like, you have to. The Broncos are the city. The Broncos are this. Like, you need to. It's like Batman or Spider-Man. You know, it's
So
like
Broncos are above the law.
oh, nobody's giving Batman a speeding ticket for when he's like flying around in his car. Like you
The
just
Broncos saving the world?
I mean, you need that. They're
The
like
world is definitely better if the Broncos are
Exactly.
winning.
Very
I'll
true.
say that.
You need the Broncos to win. Like that's the way it goes.
Yeah, because usually, like, if it's not nothing major, the guy will be like, well, what are you doing? Like, why are you going this fast? Just slow down. You know what I'm saying?
Don't be
That's
an
kind of
idiot.
like, let me
Yeah.
give you a warning.
Yeah. Or
But
like,
for that, you know what I'm saying? It just
So,
didn't work out.
Where I'm from, like a small town, Columbia Falls, a lot of the time it's like, this never happened to me, is where I want to start. But you'll have like friends in high school who like do whatever stupid, shouldn't be driving. They're driving back, cop pulls them over. Cop is like, okay, I know you through like, you're probably my like second cousin and like our whoever's are friends and like whatever else.
Everyone's
so it's just
related
like,
there is what you're saying?
exactly.
that kind of town.
Exactly. So like, not
I don't know if you want to agree with that.
not like that. But yeah, so it's just they say like, yeah, like let me just like follow you home and never ever ever do this again. You know, it's like that kind of thing. Which again is also why there's a lot of things that Montanans don't get right. But you know, I would expect some of that for the Broncos.
Breaking the law is something Montanans do right, according to you?
It's just a strange place. There's a lot of nuance to it.
It really sounds like a strange place the way you've been describing it the past 60 seconds.
There's a lot
Yeah.
that goes on there.
It's pretty though, right?
Also,
yeah.
real quick, shout out Cody in the chat. It's its birthday today. Happy birthday,
Happy
Cody.
birthday, man. Happy birthday,
our
Cody.
guy, happy birthday. And you know what? Cody always asks for likes. Let's give likes for Cody. Thumbs
Yes.
up for
Thumbs
Cody's
up for Cody,
birthday.
yes.
And we benefit from that. It's
We
pretty
do.
awesome. Happy
Also,
birthday, Cody.
I just realized I'm having like a blurry eyes day, so I can't really read the comments, which is great because I'm sure they're all just roasting me for saying that football players should be above the law.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's a good day for me to not be able to read those.
The comment section does look extra small today.
Oh, no.
Maybe we all just have blurry eyes. But so Todd, what do players do in the bye week?
Most of them, they usually go back home and try to get some rest and relaxation. But a lot of guys try to like get some training in because people don't realize how much weaker and slower you feel after like training with your specific trainer during your lifts, and then you come to the Broncos and you're just running a lot more. Practices are a lot more intense, and your body just kind of loses a lot of muscle mass throughout the season. So you try to take this week to try to gain some of that back, but it's hard to do in 1 week. And then, you know, most of the time guys take vacations or trips. A lot of guys go to Mexico, which I feel like is too far.
Yeah.
But if you get a full week off, I mean,
Yeah.
you really can go anywhere
Yeah.
you want to go. So, yeah, they try to get as much of themselves back because you really do feel like you're not hitting as strong as you normally
Yep.
hit. You're not as powerful as you were to start the year. So you try to get some of that back in the bye.
I was talking to somebody last season, and I'm not going to put a name on it because he said, don't tell anybody I said this.
So instead, you come on the biggest Broncos podcast and you're gonna say it. I love it. I love it.
I'll protect it real quick. There you go.
You're blurred out. I got you.
That
There we
is
go.
good.
But yeah, so I was just chatting with him. I was like, "You have anything planned for the bye week?" And he said, "No, I'm staying right here." And honestly, I think it's kind of bullshit that anybody would leave. Like I think that everybody should be so locked in that they wouldn't want to go, so that they stay and they work, and we just kind of grind it out and build. And I like obviously I see why, but also like I get the break, you go home. What do you think of that, Todd?
I think everybody's different.
Yeah.
So everybody, as long as everybody's being safe and like responsible, it's still blurring you out. It's crazy. I think everybody's different. I mean, you have guys like when you watch The Last Dance, like if Dennis Rodman was not able to go party for a night, he would not be the same Dennis Rodman the next night. Like he needs that.
He does.
You know what I'm saying? Most people
Yeah.
would be dead the next day, but like it's something. He gets a superpower from that. So
Yeah.
I think everybody's different, and they need different things to really be their best for the team.
And that's so interesting to hear that a lot of guys work out back with their own trainer, because I would have thought 69 guys go to Vegas for as long as the coach gives them off. And
I don't think anybody could go to Vegas for a week.
People go.
Oh, some
There's no
athletes
way.
are built
Yeah, yeah,
different.
for sure. Yeah.
That's the no. I don't know. I can barely survive like 3 days.
What was Dennis's thing? Like 72 hours during the season,
Yep.
he was gone, and they just did not hear from him.
Yep.
And then they went and got him, and he's good.
Even during playoffs, he would go for just 24 hours. Just like he just needed it so bad.
That is wild. Now, obviously, that would never. I shouldn't say never. I've never heard of that happening in the NFL, where during the week of a game, someone's gone. But I guess like you said, different guys need different things. And I think taking a step back is good for probably most guys. There's probably some that do need to stay locked in for whatever reason, but I think it's important. I mean, Nathaniel Hackett last year, I remember he said, coming back from the bye, he said, "Oh, it was great. I got to see my kids." And then last night or this morning when I went to work, I told them, "All right, I'll see you in a couple of months." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that is brutal." But I think taking a step back, reconnecting with your family and friends is definitely a good thing for most people.
Yeah. Even for us.
Even for us.
Yeah, that was nice. Like Saturday night, hanging out with my Montana friends, watching the game.
Oh,
You
pretty good
guys
game.
get a keg?
do you want to bring it up?
Well, what?
You guys get a keg and some.
No, we should have got keg. I just had a bunch of beers. I love beer. It was so much fun. Just drinking a bunch of beers, watching football.
You know that's what a keg is beer.
Well, but yeah, I mean, but it's all like one big beer. I don't know. There's something. It's a lot of fun, but there's something about like just having the cans in front of you that's satisfying. It's like,
So,
4 beers. I
you
just
know
did
what
that.
you conquered for the night, like
Exactly.
that's what I've taken down so far.
Exactly.
You ever build the wizard staff?
I have not. I had friends. That actually was a topic of conversation. But yeah, I have not. Did you do that? You seem like you'd be a good wizard.
A good wizard. So you're saying I could drink a lot?
Maybe not.
You guys know I'm lost. I have no clue what a wizard
So
staff
a
is.
wizard staff is when you finish a beer, you duct tape it together with the other beers you finish to make like a staff.
And
And
then,
then obviously, the more you drink, the
higher
bigger
staff.
it gets.
And
Yeah.
sometimes there's like the longest at the end of the night gets like a prize or is the winner or whatever.
more beer.
More, yeah, they get another beer.
Only game with beer and duct tape I've played. That sounds really crazy. It's like the Edward 40 hands.
Yeah.
You guys ever played that?
I haven't, but I just missed out on that.
Yeah.
Maybe we have an Edward 40 Hands podcast. Be an off-season show.
Oh. What?
That's not a flag.
What's a flag?
What do you mean?
Wow, yeah.
Oh, you haven't played Edward 40 hands?
No,
Or you
it's
didn't like
not
my
you-
duct tape and beer reference?
How you described it felt really bad.
Well,
That's the part where you get the flag.
Wow.
I don't
You
use
can-
duct tape
you
usually,
can
so
challenge
it's
it if you
okay.
want. I'll throw the challenge flag, but
Well, Henry's making our head wander. Todd's making our head wander places. So what's also weird now, so that guys may have played those games this past week, but now that they're back, we've got a really weird scheduling week coming up because the Broncos don't play till next Monday. So I think another reason why Sean was totally okay giving them a full week off is he gets them back in the building today.
Yep.
And they don't start their normal week of practice until Thursday because
Dang.
they have a Monday night game coming up this coming week. So they still get additional days of practice. So he could give them the full week off.
Yep.
He gets to be the good coach. And then this week, they get to still put extra work in right now.
Yeah, I think that Monday night game is huge for them coming back from a bye. Like you said, it gives them an extra day. And in football, I mean, you really only have like 5 days to prepare, so an extra day to rest your body is going to be good for those guys. And I know they love him for that. Like guys appreciate when the coach throws you a little bone, gives you a little bit extra. Like it goes a long way in the locker room.
And it's one of those things where, like, if they go out and beat the Bills, everybody's going to say, wow, what a great decision from Sean, giving them, like, the extra time off. They really just did need to reset. And if they lose, they'll be like, how could you have taken that time off? Like, what a horrible decision.
That's
Like,
exactly
you can't
how it
do that.
happens.
And it's the same thing. We could have said, like, actually, we're working more. And if they win, it's the right decision. If they lose, it's the wrong decision. Which is always, like, it is the only evidence you have, but it is kind of silly that we do that every single time there's a situation like this.
Yeah, like field day. Were you a fan
Like,
of field day?
Yeah.
Yes.
At the very end of OTAs?
It was okay. It was fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
What, did you just not win anything? Like, I feel like there was like the golf one. It's like when Drew Lock's out there like draining all those 3-pointers. Like, I get how that wouldn't be as fun for somebody who might not have.
I think, what, you saying I can't play
Well,
ball?
all I know is Drew won.
Oh, yeah, because I wasn't there. I was.
You're not there for that one?
Yeah, I feel like I was always having kids around that time. Like every field day, I would be having a kid and have to miss it.
That's kind of an unfortunate day to have a kid. Like, don't
Well,
you want to miss
the kid
like,
is the best thing, you know what I'm saying?
But wouldn't you want to miss like conditioning
Yeah.
and have to miss that sort of day?
I miss the fun
as opposed
times.
of like shaved ice being brought to the facility.
Yeah. But I think I got the better deal.
Yeah, you probably did.
All of your kids came on field day. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's timing.
It's weird. It's almost like teachers. Like teachers always have kids at like the beginning of the school year.
Of course, yeah, smart.
Or like the end, so they get longer off.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something to that with football too.
Yeah.
That would actually be smart though, because then you have all summer. You have like the 6-week break
Yeah.
to be with your kids, because there's no maternity leave or paternity leave in the NFL. You get like 1 day.
I feel like most people have. It's funny because most people have kids like in the summer.
Yep.
Because of whenever their bye week took place. It like correlates to whenever the kid was born.
That would add up for this bye week.
Yeah.
We might be on baby watch for Sierra, and fairly soon. I don't know exactly what the timetable is, but that would be interesting. Be very interesting if it falls close to a game for the Broncos.
Oh wow, I hadn't even thought of that. But yeah, I mean it can't be after the season. Like having,
I wouldn't think so.
we see her every other week or so,
Yeah.
and she seems to have kind of like maxed it all out. Like it seems like it's about time to. I'm no expert here.
Are you guys a fan of the guys who like will miss their baby's birth to play in the game? Like,
No,
I don't get it. I don't.
It's one game,
I think it's one game.
and
Yeah.
it's your baby's only birth.
This is
Like,
it's happening
Yeah.
one time.
yeah, even if you are the quarterback and
Yeah.
Russell Wilson, I will not blame him for a single second if he decides to be there with Sierra, because it's not just, and Todd, you know more than I do. I haven't had a kid, but it's not just being there for your kid's birth. It's also like supporting your wife and
Exactly.
being there
Yeah.
for the whole family too. So if Russ decides to do that, if it comes to that decision where it happens on a game, I 100% support that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even if you ball, like when you get home and your wife looks at you in your eyes,
I couldn't
she don't
imagine.
care about a stat. She don't care about how well you did. You could have broken the NFL record.
Yep.
It's over for you, buddy.
It's one of those where like, the fans are like, "Oh my god, he loves us so much. Like he'll ignore his family to play for us." Like it is how it is. Yeah, there's no reason to do that, but you do wonder like, what if Stidham goes out there and throws for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns?
Russ can't let that thought cross his mind.
No, he can't.
Well,
But then
also, he would
where
want
do
that
things
to
go
happen,
from there?
though, too.
What
so
about,
he gets cut.
No. So he gets an $80 million paycheck?
Yeah.
No,
what
so
about
the Broncos win.
What if it's the Super Bowl though? Are you okay with missing your child's birth for the Super Bowl?
You gonna hold it in, baby. Cross your legs.
Bring your doctor to the stadium.
You got to have that private jet ready to go
Yeah.
right
For sure.
after
For sure.
kickoff.
Well, what did
Or
Kelsey's
right after
wife?
the game ends.
Kelsey's wife took her doctors to the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah,
I
she
think
missed
there
it by
was
a
something
week.
like that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, just in case they all
my
flew to
God.
all went to the Super Bowl.
That's awesome. I guess
Yeah.
that's what you do if you're in
That's
the
what you
Super
have to
Bowl.
do.
Wow, that is
Just in the locker
awesome.
room, just everybody's ready to go.
Oh, I mean, they have all the medical equipment.
Yep.
Yeah, so you're ready to go. And
You
speaking of-
you literally named that kid Lombardi as soon as it comes out. If you win the Super Bowl, you name that kid Lombardi,
what
right?
if you lose? Is that just the worst luck kid?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That'd be tough.
Yeah.
That kid isn't allowed at your games anymore.
And you
least
gotta pick a
favorite
losing
kid.
team.
Yeah. Name him
Speaking
Vince.
of Vegas, we are going to Vegas
Yeah.
in just 2 months from now, when maybe the Broncos are playing a meaningful Week 18 game. We're going with the Circa Broncos road trip. We're taking our show on the road out to Vegas for Broncos Raiders Week 18. No Josh McDaniels there. Maybe the Broncos will be able to finally get a win against the Raiders. And if you want to come with us, we've got a package with the link in the description. And here's what the package is going to get you. 20% off a 2-night stay at the Circa Resort and Casino, which is the coolest place out in Vegas. 2 tickets to the Winter Swim and Concert. 2 passes to Stadium Swim, which is awesome. DNVR tailgate and watch party at the Stadium Swim. 1 annual Die Hard membership package for DNVR and the option to buy a game ticket as well. So if you want to join us to Vegas, or in Vegas for that game, January, perfect time to go to Vegas. Click the link in our description for more information.
And if you're looking at other Broncos games to go to, you should check out our friends over at Game Time. I think this Bills game is going to be cold, but you know what I'm saying, maybe a good one to attend because the Broncos could definitely pull an upset. And I'm happy to say that I got to use Game Time for the first time this last week when I went to go see the Nuggets play. And it was really great because it has all-in pricing, so you can pick your all-in pricing, and it shows you what your price is going to be with taxes and fees included. So you're not, thinking it's going to be $300, then you get to the final screen and now it's $700 because of fees. Like, you get to know exactly what prices you're getting, and then also you get to save money using code DNVR. You get $20 off. And they have not only football, but they have basketball, all the sports. They have events, concerts, everything you can find on the Game Time app. So go to the App Store and download the Game Time app, again, using DNVR to get $20 off your first purchase.
Birthday boy Cody, he lives in Vegas, and he says, as a Vegas local, I can say that Circa is pretty dope. Excited to see you out there, Cody, and come join us, because Circa is awesome.
Yeah, that's going to be a very good time. I'm very excited. I haven't been to Vegas in too long. I've got to get out of me.
Wow. We'll see if you make it to the game.
Oh, wow.
After that weekend.
What time is the game?
It's a.
It's got to be 1:30 there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's manageable.
Yeah, daylight savings too.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to make too many mistakes before 1:30, and you shouldn't be making too many mistakes the night before. They'll last until 1:30.
Yeah.
It's Vegas.
It's Vegas.
The first time.
So click that link to join us. All right, let's talk about this next game coming up. The Buffalo Bills, who, they've been to plenty of AFC Championship games recently. They have their franchise quarterback in Josh Allen. They have their longtime head coach in Sean McDermott. They have Von Miller. They have Stefon Diggs. On paper, this team just seems elite.
Yep.
They're 5-4 right now. They might be the most disappointing team in the NFL right now. How scared are you guys of the Bills?
I'm not too scared, but I will say that the Bills, just like many NFL teams, follow and take on the nature of their quarterback. I think Josh Allen is the type of player where he's very talented, but you don't know which Josh Allen you're going to get night in and night out. And I think the whole team is kind of playing like that. Offensively and defensively, you're not sure which Bills team is going to show up. So, of course, they can come out and try to be dominant and really throw the ball and, put together a good passing game, but I'm not sure if they have the capability to do that for sure. So I will say I'm not scared, because hopefully we just get the Bills that we just saw on Monday night.
And to piggyback off that, when I was thinking about the Bills last night, especially as they're really getting manhandled by the Bengals, I thought, man, the Bills are a team, and not just saying this to say it, but they really are a team that can beat anyone in the NFL, and they can also lose to anyone in the NFL. And we've seen that. Yeah. Week 1, Aaron Rodgers gets hurt the fourth play into the game. Zach Wilson comes in, New York Jets fans, and the Jets are just devastated.
Yep.
The players are just heartbroken. They know their season's over. They think their season's over. And the Jets go out and they beat the Bills. And then we see the Bills also have really good games. They took care of the Dolphins earlier in the season, beat them 48-20, just destroyed them. And so I think it all goes back to Josh Allen. I think you're right. And he is a guy that can go out and just make boneheaded decision after boneheaded decision. Like, he was playing 500 in that Jets game. He was just throwing the ball up, hoping that someone would catch it. He didn't care if it was a Bills player or a Jets player. And then he can go out and he can put up 4 touchdowns and no interceptions like he did against the Dolphins.
Yeah, and it seems like they have different game plans depending on... So like, you're the Bengals. If you're playing the Bengals, they want to go out there. They want to go 5 wide, just put the ball in Josh Allen's hands, and like, they're calling passes every play. Like, there's almost no running game. It just either he throws it to somebody or he runs, and if he has to take a beating, then he takes a beating, and it is what it is. When they play other teams, like the Buccaneers, a team that you wouldn't be so scared of, that's when they're willing to just like play normal offense, hand the ball off to the running back, try to get 20 carries to their backs. And I think that going into a game against the Broncos, I don't expect them to just do that whole, like, we're spreading it out, we're throwing every play, Josh Allen's winning or losing us this game, because I think that they look at it and say, we probably can run a little bit here. We don't need to ask him to take 15 hits and drop back 50 times. And so I think that that's going to be a difference, and I think that definitely kind of plays into the Broncos' hands. I think there's a bunch of things that do, especially they're 30th in yards per rush attempt allowed. Teams can run against them, and the Bengals couldn't last night, but it feels like pretty much the first time that's happened this season. I mean, that's how the Patriots beat them, is just running all over them. So I think that the game lines up pretty well for the Broncos. At the same time, though, like, you're going and playing in Buffalo, and that's just not an easy thing to do. Like, that should be a loss for just about any team in the league.
You know, I would say that if I was the coordinator for the Bills, I would do the opposite. I would spread them out and then kind of run just to keep the Broncos honest. But as far as, you know, I think we're not young in our secondary, but we still have like newer pieces, like our slot corner, our corner on the other side of Pat. Like, I think there are pieces that the Bills feel like they can attack there.
It's true.
More so than in our front seven. I know we haven't particularly stopped the run well, but recently we have, and we have a lot of veteran players in our front seven that I feel like is going to be harder to take advantage of. If they have turned the corner with Vance Joseph, they can maybe pick on, you know, some of the guys that are newer in the system.
And it's funny, from the Broncos' perspective, we talk about run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. Sean, don't forget to run the damn ball. And we saw it this past game against the Chiefs. They run the ball 40 times, throw the ball 20 times, and that's their recipe for success. And everyone says a running game is a young quarterback's best friend. Well, you know what? A running game is any quarterback's best friend, including Josh Allen. When they destroyed Miami, Josh Allen had a season-low 25 passing attempts. A season-low 25 passing attempts. In their loss last night, he throws for 38 times. 2 weeks ago, when they lost to the Patriots, he throws for 41 times. And one of the things that's made the Broncos defense really flip a corner, at least it's what Sean points to, he says, our run defense got a lot better. So if the run defense shows up, and without having to really focus on shutting down the Bills' rushing attack, if the Broncos are able to make the Bills one-dimensional, then you could get Josh Allen that goes out and throws 4 touchdowns, but more likely you're going to get Josh Allen that goes out and is making boneheaded decisions. He's thrown an interception in the past 5 straight games.
Yeah.
And I do think, like, their best game plan is just dropping back and throwing the ball. But I also think that, like, Josh Allen just takes so many hits when you do that. Whether it's guys come around the edge and he gets the ball out and takes a hit, whether it's a sack, whether it's him rolling out and getting a hit. Because he ran the ball as much as the running backs almost last night. So, and that's why...
He was our leading rusher.
Exactly.
By far.
That's why I think it's not that they think they're better off running against the Broncos. I think it's that they want to protect Josh Allen, especially after all the hits he took last night. I think they kind of want to just save his legs, his shoulders, I guess. That was the one that was bothering him last night, and just see if they can take some of that workload off against what they might think is an inferior opponent. Or maybe they say, we've got to win this game now because we're 5-4. I don't know. I'll be curious to see what they do. Yeah,
me too. I just think long term they need him to be on point. I don't know if there's a better game for them to try to get him back on point, because they can't win. You know, their goal is the Super Bowl. They're not going to win a Super Bowl with Josh Allen only throwing 20 times, 25 times. Like, he is their key player. They have a good wide receiver group. Like, that's what they have Josh Allen to do, is to throw the football. So I think if they want to win the championship, they got to get him back on track sooner rather than later. Hopefully later after this game. But just, I think for their team to be able to win, they have to have Josh Allen playing well.
Man, we talk about how big of a game this is for the Broncos. You drop to 3-6. Okay, there you can still build the case that they can beat Josh Dobbs and the Minnesota Vikings at home the following week. Then they can beat the Browns. Oh, no?
I mean, he looked good.
You could build a case, though.
Oh, you could build a case, but are they going to win? Like,
okay, not a gimme.
That was beginner luck. He's just playing free. You know what I'm saying?
He did the same thing with the Cardinals, too.
Yeah.
Week 1, he goes out there and beats the Cowboys after being on the team for like 5 days. Yeah. So and it didn't hold up. So maybe it is just beginner's
You don't
luck.
have all that, you know, that whole playbook rushing around in your head. It's very vanilla. Just go out there and play. I don't know if he's that sustainable. I think Baker Mayfield is playing better now, but when he first got there, he played great the very first game.
He did.
And then, like, they gave him the whole playbook, and then his head was spinning. Like, I think beginner luck definitely plays into it.
And yeah, there's also the element of surprise. Maybe your teammates are a little more fired up because they have some hope in this new guy. Just look at the Raiders yesterday.
Yep.
They got the new coach game. That happens like every time a coach gets fired. They go out and they win that next game, and then they typically fall back to earth, and the Raiders hopefully it will fall back to earth after that game because they looked great too. So they kind of get that boost.
They had cigars and everything.
I know. It was awesome.
Did they actually?
Yes,
Oh,
they
first
had-
game?
Oh,
Yes,
yeah. Everybody had cigars.
Everybody, like they just won the Super Bowl.
Oh,
They were-
Yeah, they're like
lit.
going live. They're like, that was not the happiest locker room I've ever seen, but like right up there.
Yeah.
Especially for week 9.
Oh yeah, like for regular season, definitely. Like that was crazy. And to be honest, I kind of enjoyed seeing that. And I think that what I found is that my hatred of Josh McDaniels might be deeper than my hatred, especially of these Raiders, because you're not still like scared of them. Like I came away thinking like there were two ways I could go, right? Like I'd rather see the Raiders blow somebody out and Josh McDaniels like cry than see them get their asses kicked and Josh McDaniels kind of be like feeling good about himself.
Vindicated because
exactly.
it wasn't his fault. Okay,
Exactly.
Yeah, I see that.
What an awful 10 days for Josh McDaniels. And no one deserves it more than him. But I mean, like, reports came out that they had a team meeting, not just players only meeting, but a team meeting like 2 days before he gets fired, where players are just ripping into him. Then they go out and lose. Then he gets fired. Then all this stuff comes out just about how much the players hated him. They're celebrating like they just won a Super Bowl. My goodness. So
They look
happy
so
it
happy.
happened to
Well,
them.
And then Jay Glazer saying, like, the end of that meeting, Antonio Pierce is saying, like, yeah, you know what? When I was with the Giants, we played the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and we went out and beat them. It was because we believed we could beat them. And, like, they were, like, 9-7 that season, something like that. He's like, we just got to have that sort of belief. And Josh McDaniels took him aside afterward and said, you don't talk about the Patriots like that. and then right after that, he gets fired.
Oh,
like, what
incredible.
an insane thing to do.
With Antonio Pierce is the one that replaces him.
Yeah, and I don't know. I do think like there's always like that juice you get after a coach gets fired. If you hate the coach in particular, but I do wonder if this is a little bit more sustainable because the Raiders really were underperforming. I think.
Watch what you say.
Well, I'm just saying like I thought that this second game, the Vegas game, the one that you should all come to. I thought that one was not a lock for the Broncos, but assuming the Broncos kind of stick where they are, they should be just fine in that one. Now I kind of wonder if the Raiders could go on a run.
I mean, the coach was quoting NWA in his press conference. Like, those boys are going to be fired up for
For the Raiders, too. Like,
I
it just
know.
fits. Like, yeah.
It does. I got so got in betting yesterday by
Oh, I feel
listening to two people. I listened to Tyreek Hill say he's going to go off for 12 catches, 250 yards. I was like, oh man, 93.5. I'm taking the over there. He doesn't do that. And then I listened to Antonio Pierce. He's like, when you think of the Cowboys back in the day, you thought of their star players. When you think of the Raiders, you're gonna think of Josh Jacobs and Devontae Adams. That's how we're gonna play. I'm like, all right, Devontae Adams.
Yeah, it's
he's
your game.
gonna have a game. And he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So thanks, Raiders. Thanks, Antonio Pierce. Okay, but back to this Broncos game. This is a huge game for the Broncos to not fall to 3-6. If they win this game, I mean, everyone's going to be so bought in on this Broncos team. They just beat the Chiefs and they just beat the Bills in Buffalo. And then you have these easy games coming up. I mean, everyone's going to be bought in. The Broncos season's completely turned around. But from the Bills' perspective, they lose, they go to 5-5. And Todd, you're talking about how they believe they're a Super Bowl team, and I totally agree with you. That's the expectations for them. 5-5 at this point in the season would be a nightmare.
Absolutely, because in the NFL, like you don't have to be an amazing team to have a great run. You just got to win the games that you're supposed to win, and still one or two of the other ones that you're not supposed to win. Like that's how you put together a good season. And for the Bills to be 5-5. Their season's definitely not over, but they will be in a very bad space.
Yes, they will be. So, Henry, is this still the toughest game on the Broncos' schedule outside of Kansas City?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to Buffalo like that. I wonder what the Broncos' record is there. I know it's not good. I know it's bad in like basically any East Coast game, but Buffalo in particular has been trouble. And
It's because of the atmosphere, man.
Is that what it is?
Driving to the stadium, people are crashing cans on their head and jumping through tables. You're like,
Do you
where the
notice
hell
that?
are we? Get us out of here, man.
And you're in the smallest city that has an NFL team. Like, it's just got to be weird.
Yeah.
And there's no food. Like,
Yeah.
you try to eat a good meal before, all you get is buffalo wings and celery. Like, it's bad,
That
man.
doesn't sound too bad.
Well, I mean, like, it's not putting like good fuel if you're a
Yeah.
Ferrari.
Sure.
Like, you're feeling like a Honda Civic the next day. You know,
I obviously NFL teams, and especially now the Broncos with the Walton Penner ownership group, stay in really nice hotels when they travel. I heard Buffalo, there's like not nice hotels that you can stay in, so that probably gets decreased too. You're probably just so thrown off.
Probably
and it's a long
intentionally.
trip.
Yeah, it's a long trip.
Yeah.
You might as well go to Canada and just fly over in the
true.
morning.
I guess the only other one I could see an argument for is if you wanted to like go back to that Dolphins game, but still like at Miami isn't the same. Like I think the Dolphins are probably the better team than the Bills, especially at this point. But going to Buffalo versus going to Miami, like Miami has its own distractions, but just don't be an idiot and you're going to be fine. I still think it's a tie between those two for me.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I'm just not scared of the Bills. Now,
Really?
I don't think it's the Broncos. It's like a guaranteed win. They're 7.5-point underdogs.
Yeah.
So it shows that it's still a very difficult game. But I view this game as like when you go through the schedule, it's like, oh, lost, move on. Not anymore. There's
Really?
absolutely a debate here, in my opinion. I mean, look, the Bills have lost to the Jets in Week 1. They've lost to the Jaguars. They've lost to the Patriots just a couple of weeks ago. And then yesterday, I mean, they just got manhandled. The score, they only lost by 6, but in reality, they just got manhandled by the Bengals, who are hitting their stride. So the Bengals are a really good team. The only teams they beat the Raiders in Week 2 when the Raiders were bad. I mean, I know the Broncos lost to them in Week 1. But the Raiders are bad. They got... they beat the Commanders, not a very good team. They beat Miami. That's their one good win this year. They beat the Giants in Tampa Bay. Like, the Bills have not proved that they are this good team right now. Talented, without a doubt. There's talent all over that team, but they're kind of like the Chargers right now. When you look at the Chargers, the Chargers have a lot of really good players, and then just like nothing after that. That's kind of what the Bills are.
That's
and
fair.
we see the Chargers, they're a 3-4 team right now. They're not good either.
The Bills are just kind of weak in the trenches.
Yeah.
And not like super weak, but they're just kind of average after being really good there. But still, like, we know what the Bills are capable of. Like, the last 3 years, second in scoring, third in scoring, second in scoring. Last 2 years, first in scoring defense, second in scoring defense. So many of the pieces are the same. This year, they're fifth in scoring defense. Like, this is a really good team. I do think, like, you lose Matt Milano for the season. That's massive, especially when they also lost Tremaine Edmonds in the offseason. I think that's why they've got good pass rushers, but when you don't have those two linebackers there, it just changes your run defense, and so you become so much more susceptible there. They lost Devin Singletary, who's a really good running back.
He was.
And people, he's like in that second or third tier almost, so people don't really think of him. It's like if you have Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, it's like you lose one of those guys. Oh, that's tough. But like when it's that next tier running back, I don't think they get the credit they deserve, especially when you replace him with James Cook, who does some nice things. You don't want him as a between the tackles runner. He's not good at that. Like, and so you bring in Latavius Murray to patch that up, but just having Singletary really opened up so many different things. And I don't know. They definitely aren't as good as they were before, but they're also like a team that knows how to win, and they're super talented, and they're fifth in scoring defense. Like that alone should be kind of scary, especially when you're going into Buffalo to play them.
And they
Real quick, the series with the at Buffalo, Bills lead 11-15. The Broncos have only won 11 times there.
so they won 15 times.
26 times.
Sorry. The Bills lead the series
15-11.
15-11.
Okay.
Okay,
Played
that's
Buffalo
not bad.
26 times?
I mean, over the
That's a
past
lot.
like
that probably played
50 years,
three.
yeah.
It's from 1960, and the last time the Broncos won at Buffalo was 2007.
Dang.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
That's tough. Well, I will say that I'm not scared of the Bills, but I do feel like they bounce back pretty well. They don't lose 2 in a row. Like they usually find a way to
They
bounce
have
back
not this year.
Yeah, against the next team and play pretty well. So not nervous, but I know that they do kind of come fire out after they do take a loss.
What about this game as a whole? Do you feel better about this game as a whole than you did at the beginning of the season? Because obviously you probably feel better about the Bills part. Probably feel worse about what the Broncos are bringing to the table, though.
No,
Really?
not
Really?
right now.
Yeah,
not
not
right
right
now.
now, yeah.
I'm feeling good about the Broncos.
Okay.
This is like what I thought the Broncos were going to be when I thought they were going to get 10 wins. I just didn't know that they were going to start off historically bad on defense and like get 3 straight losses to start the season.
Okay.
I feel good about the Broncos right now. I do.
I agree. I think they're bringing a little bit more to the table then I think that just based off what the Bills are doing right now, I think the Broncos are bringing more to the table than I thought they would in this specific game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Bills lost week 1. Then they went on a 3-game win streak. They destroyed every opponent. 38-10, 37-3, 48-20. It was like, okay, the Bills are back. Week 1's forgotten about. Josh Allen's awful game. The Bills are who we thought they were. Past 5 games. Loss, win, loss, win, loss.
Yeah.
They're 2-3 in their past 3 games. The opposite of the Broncos. Broncos started really cold. Now they're picking up steam. Bills doing the complete opposite. And we are going to continue to break down this game so much because it is so important throughout the remainder of the week. But I got to tell you to check out our friends over at Breckenridge Brewery. Man, how weird would it be, Todd, if you're driving into the stadium in Buffalo next week and the Bills fans are just crushing Broncos Country Pale Ale cans onto their heads. It's like the Broncos beer that they're just crushing. And if you want to be crushing Broncos beers next Monday night for the game this coming weekend, make sure to check out the official beer of DNVR where they've got all sorts of beer. So check them out. If you like beer, they're going to have mini beers that are for you. So check them out, breckbrew.com for their beer locator to see where you can get any of their beers.
And head on over to FOCO. If the Broncos have you excited right now and you think they're about to go on a run, make sure that you have all the gear that you need because FOCO has everything. Today I'm going to sort the price by cheapest just to see what you could get. So for like $5, wow. So this is a Denver Broncos pastel tie-dye gator scarf.
Well,
so you put it up, you can pull it up,
Wow.
covers your mouth. It's tie-dye, it looks really cool, but it has like white Broncos logos everywhere. It looks super sharp. They've got another one that isn't tie-dye, it's kind of just like faded. Oh, they call that tie-dye as well. But that's awesome. Also for $5, just a simple Broncos mask. It's actually the official on-field sideline logo face cover of the Denver Broncos.
Wow.
Pretty good.
You think Sean's going to be wearing that next week in Buffalo?
No.
No. Okay.
Which is a shame. Maybe the gator. You can see the gator, especially it's pink. So like they have the. I think it's November's breast cancer awareness. No, it's October.
October.
October. No,
Yeah.
so he won't be wearing that. Probably already did. For $1 more, you can put like a player's number on your mask. So there's like Von Miller masks, there's Cortland Sutton masks. Those are
Put
pretty sharp.
51 on it.
Yep.
You might have to customize that one.
Custom, baby. That's all we do. You know what I'm saying?
They don't have Ronnie Perkins?
No Ronnie Perkins.
Man.
This one's another gator, but it's like kind of a Christmas theme. Like, Christmas sweaters have that like very specific pattern. It's like lines, and this one's like Christmas tree line. This one has like little like, it's like that, but for your face. Koozies, Christmas ornaments. This has probably gone too long already, but there's so many different things. You go check them out. It's pretty crazy. And if you use the code DNVR at FOCO.com, you can get 10% off any non-presale item. So head on over there. There's a link. You can see it on the screen. You can see it in the description. Oh, yeah. There's a whole bunch of stuff that here's pulled up. DNVR for 10% off.
All right, let's jump into our DraftKings Sportsbook pick of the week right now because we've been talking about it, and I'm just dying to say it. I think it is a lock that the Broncos cover the 7.5 next week. I don't know if the Broncos are going to win the game, plus 295 money line if you think so, but I love the Broncos to stay within a touchdown of this game for everything we talked about, and I just think unless the week 1 through 3 Broncos show up, I think they're definitely going to cover and stay within a touchdown.
Okay. I'll rock with you.
Love it.
I'll rock with you. But I think this week, I really want to see if that momentum carries over that the Raiders are running off of. It's the first game. You always get a good win with a new head coach. But I feel like a good energy from that coach. I don't think he'll be good enough to beat the Broncos, but maybe he takes them on a little bit of a run, kind of turn things around. So it's plus 110 for the Raiders to beat the Jets. Jets, they have their struggles. They're not the best football team in the NFL, so I think it's definitely doable.
Man,
Yeah.
Jets could really do the Broncos, the AFC West, a solid. Tonight, beat the Chargers. Next Sunday night, before the Broncos Monday night game, beat the Raiders.
We'll see.
Yeah,
Wow.
we will.
I'm going to stick with tonight. So Chargers at the Jets, Monday Night Football. How about I'll just take the 3.5 points or lay the 3.5 points with the Chargers. The Jets aren't good. I know the Chargers are struggling, but this does seem like one of those games that they should be able to go win. Only because they've lost so many. I feel like I know what to expect from the Chargers, and that is 8 or 9 wins every year. And I still think they're probably getting to like 7 or 8 this year. This is probably one of them.
All right. Well, let's talk. So that's our DraftKings Sportsbook pick of the week. Let's talk about this game tonight. And my question is, who should the Broncos be pulling for in this game? Because initially you're like, what a stupid question. Of course you want the AFC West team to lose, especially the AFC West team. The Chargers are 3-4. They lose tonight. They have the same record as the Broncos, which is crazy. But you look at the Jets. They're 4-3, so they have, 2 games on the Broncos right now. They've got the head-to-head against them. And if you think that the Broncos might be pushing for a wild card spot, you need to start looking at those wild card teams. So do you make a case that you actually want the Chargers to win tonight to bring the Jets down a little bit, even though it keeps the Chargers ahead of you? Or is it crazy? Just root against the AFC West team?
No, I think you do want the Chargers to win because you got 2 more times to play them. In the season, they'll overtake whatever record they have. So I think if they can get a win against the Jets, they can put you in better position in the wild card race.
I think I'm with you, Todd.
Yeah.
Especially because you're not getting that head-to-head win back against the Jets.
Yeah.
They have that. And so as long as you don't have a better record than the Jets, they're going to have the tiebreaker with you. And so you control your destiny when it comes to the Chargers. Even if they win tonight, Chargers will be 1 game up on the Broncos. You still have 2 games.
Yeah.
And you can beat them and control your destiny there. So crazy enough. I mean, we're not talking draft pick now. We're talking playoffs.
Yeah.
I think you do want the Chargers to win. Now, I'm not going to tell a Broncos fan that they should be rooting for the Chargers, but if the Chargers win tonight, it's actually not as bad as you would think.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. And I went probably too deep into all of like the Broncos, what they want.
Oh boy, if you're saying you went too deep, I can't imagine how deep you actually went.
Well, I
No,
went
no flag? No flag on that? The whole combo?
I didn't even think.
If you're saying you went too deep, I don't know how deep you went.
There's the flag. There's the flag.
Wow, you're here sleeping too.
You really did.
Yeah, I was just thinking about how deep it went.
Oh my
What?
God!
Wait, flag, you got flag on
that's
yourself.
a flag right
You were
there.
thinking
That's a
about
flag
it.
on you
You're-
got here.
Oh my goodness!
I was just thinking of like, how deep does this really go?
Why
my
would you say it again? Yeah, but basically, so I just kind of went through the schedules to see like what would be the best case scenario for the Broncos. So I went through all of the games that just happened and all of the games that are going to happen this week, and so New York Times has like the best playoff predictor tool right now where you can like pick games and see where the percentages are, because 538 sports thing died, which is really sad.
Did it?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. It was like my favorite thing in the world. I wake up every morning and just go see where the Nuggets were in the NBA like projected standings for the rest of the season, because they'd always be way up at the top and be like, oh, only a 20% chance of winning the title. This is crazy. But yeah, now that's out of my life. Point is, so going into this week that's mostly over, the Broncos had a 6% chance of making the playoffs. But if everything went well this week and next week, including the Broncos beat the Bills, that could go up to 23%. On the flip side, if everything went wrong and the Broncos beat the Bills still, then it's like 9%. So
And
like,
that's with a win
with a
against
win.
the Bills?
Yeah.
What's a loss? Do you know?
If everything goes wrong, it's 2%. If everything goes well and they lose, then it's 5%. So you're looking at 2 to 5% chance if they lose, 9 to 23. But point is, I went through these games and this one really doesn't matter. It's weird.
Tonight?
Yeah. Like at the end of the season, it will probably play a part somehow. But depending on which happens, it's like the Chargers are still only 4-4 if they win. And like Todd said, the Broncos still have their opportunities. They probably need to win those games anyway. The Jets win, they still probably don't come back. There's like, it's slightly better if the Jets win, but not by a whole lot. Also, again, I haven't gone through what happened in these games to see what changed. The earliest the Broncos could get to this number 7 spot in the AFC was after week 12. So you beat the Bills, you beat the Vikings. They could be sitting at number 7 at 5-5 if that happened.
That's why.
And in that case, they'd also, or it'd be another week if they won again and got help before they had a better than 50% chance of making the playoffs.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And so yesterday, let's take a look around, because entering this week, the Broncos were the 15th seed in the AFC out of 16, which is crazy. Still 15th. But with the Patriots losing, the Patriots, Broncos gained a little more ground on them from being the last team in the AFC. But you just look right there. There are, the final playoff team right now in the AFC is the Bengals with 5 wins, 5-3. The Jets right below them at 4-3.
Also, I just pulled it up. Things did not go well for the Broncos this week.
No.
They went from a 6% chance to make the playoffs to 3%.
Dang.
So, again, it's still really early. Like, there's still a lot of games to go, but I'm not sure. I guess I didn't really think through all the results, but
So you think the Chargers win tonight?
I guess they would want the Bills to win probably. I guess it is probably the margins are so slim.
Todd, who do you think wins tonight?
I think the Chargers.
Yeah.
Chargers get a win.
If not, they may be firing their coach and having a new head coach game next week.
Yeah, that's sad because I really like Brandon Staley. I don't know what the problem is over there, but
Yeah.
maybe it's just the organization, man. Sometimes you can't,
Yeah.
you can't get right. That's what the Chargers do. It doesn't matter who your quarterback is or who your head coach is. So I think
Yeah.
it's just part of the organization. They might
And-
have
Yeah.
to get a
In
priest
all of
and some
our
holy water to
Sorry, Todd.
cleanse it.
They certainly don't need doctors there. They don't need the doctors that they've had because those are stabbing Tyrod and the collapsed lung.
In the
Yeah.
lung, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is just brutal.
Did you see CJ McCollum had I think it was a collapsed lung?
No.
He actually tweeted it. He quote tweeted. There was one of those NBA whatever accounts, like aggregator accounts, and they just had a graphic that's like CJ McCollum has a collapsed lung, and it's just a picture of him standing with his hand on his chest as he's running up the court. And CJ quote tweeting is what a ridiculous picture to choose.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was fun.
Wow.
NBA Twitter is kind of fun. NFL
Yeah.
Twitter doesn't get that way as often. Other Twitter thing, Caleb Williams was crying after he lost again.
That's bad. I'm not drafting that.
no.
Let the man cry.
He's-
you guys
What are
were
you talking
doting
about? Cry
on
in the
him?
locker room.
Exactly.
Cry at home. Cry
He
as
wanted-
much as you want. But don't cry.
He wanted to cry with his mom, Todd.
No, that's crazy.
He's sobbing too. It's not a little cry.
You
It's
gotta lead our
he's
whole
heaving.
organization.
I mean, yeah. It's,
And you want to sit up here and cry in the middle of the stadium?
let me flip it. Let me flip it. It shows how much he cares, Todd.
No,
It's just weird. There is part of me that thinks yeah, maybe it is good to be emotional. The flip side though is you don't cry in football. You just don't.
You
do
don't
it.
cry. Michael Jordan cried about 4 times on a documentary, but you never saw him cry while he played.
Never.
But he was
Good point.
definitely, you know what I'm saying? He felt
Exactly.
the emotions.
Exactly. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. That.
Penix #1 for sure. That was the last
Yes.
thing I needed
Oh
to
my
see.
goodness, he looks good.
Sure does.
I can remember twice when Broncos cried. I think there was a third. I can't remember. But the first one, no, Sean.
No, Sean, of
the
course.
national anthem. That's
That's
different.
Yeah,
different.
exactly.
It's different. That's just the massive tear.
I mean, so cool.
Crazy though.
Yeah.
That was the biggest
and that the
tear
camera
of
got
anybody.
him too.
And that the camera got him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody will ever forget that. Garrett Bowles, he cried
When?
he was getting carted off. It was the ankle, right?
He broke something.
No. This was.
Well, he did the other time. He actually didn't cry the
it
second
was a
time.
couple of years ago. He was being carted off. Yeah, he was emotional, and it was season's over. He was at practice on Wednesday.
So that one turned out.
He called the Paul Pierce.
Still though, you're getting carted off.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair time to cry.
Yep.
And then did Paxton Lynch cry
I
on the
think so.
sideline?
Yeah, against the Raiders
Against the Raiders. And
in Oakland.
which I would say probably not a good time to cry.
Well, and probably not for a quarterback. Probably not the best.
just
thing
doesn't
to be
work.
doing.
I'm telling you, man.
So
Also,
there's 2
I-
times you can, 1 time you can't.
I don't understand why does he just cry after every game? Because this was such a non-consequential game. I mean, they're
mean-
already way out of the playoff conversation. It's not like this loss probably hurt his draft stock
Yeah.
much. It's not like it hurt the team's future that much. So is he just crying at every game? 'Cause
It
wasn't he
is-
crying a couple weeks ago too after they lost?
It was
He
kind
was
of
sad.
He was
It was sad.
he
I
was
don't know if he
sad.
cried.
Okay.
But even that, I think if he put his head down and cried a little bit in the seat, he went and jumped in his mommy's arms and said, "Holds me, mother," and then cried. That's crazy to me.
And they knew to hide it too. They had the pamphlet.
The
in
mom for
front of
sure.
us. Yeah.
But the thing about it is, you still saw the body just
He did. I'm really thinking his draft stock might actually be slipping. It's not gonna drop out of the top
No.
2, but I do wonder if these things, and not just the crime, but all the other things, are gonna make some teams say, Let's go with the more sure thing and a Drake May or a Michael Penix or something.
Yeah.
They say he was Drake if Drake played football. He would be Caleb Williams.
That's pretty good.
Great.
Because I'm pretty sure if he won the Heisman this year, he would have been like the first guy in like 40 or 50 years to win it back to back. So I think that's what really got him. Because that's what's it's done now.
And I understand all that. I just don't think you do it in the middle of the arena.
Hold it in for a couple minutes.
Yeah, just like 5 minutes.
That's even
He's also
worse
only,
though.
like,
If he was
21.
crying for losing a personal award, that's even worse
I
for
don't
like
know.
his draft stock. I would think. Like,
I don't
too
think
worried
that's
about that right
bad
after a game.
because I feel like football is a team sport played by individuals. If you are playing at a level to where you can get the Heisman or get the MVP or make the Pro Bowl, like you're helping the team out.
That's true. That's true. Payton helped the team out a lot in 2013 when he was balling at an MVP level.
I just Googled famous football players crying to see like if there's any like notable. Did like Tom Brady ever cry? First picture it comes up is Noshan. Which is
Such
still
a cool
like
photo.
that is still the craziest thing.
I gotta ask him because I don't know if it was it was just one tier.
Yeah,
It was massive.
Yeah, it was one massive tier.
massive.
It was one massive
Yeah, here,
tier.
can you
Wow.
pull up the picture? When I tell the people about our friends over at Spirit Hound, we're getting into the holiday season. And if you want to get a gift for someone, Spirit Hound is a great gift. Or if you're like going over to mom's house for Thanksgiving, you want to cry with her, bring over some Spirit Hound because that's probably the gift that you need to be giving mom after that. So check out Spirit Hound where you can get their whiskey, their gin, their vodka, all across Colorado, but you can also get it in 40 states nationwide. So check out Spirit Hound online to see where you can buy it, or head over to one of their distilleries in Lyons. They have a tap room or a tasting room in the Highlands in Denver, and they have whiskey, vodka, and gin that you can purchase online to over 40 states. So check them out. It's Spirit Hound award-winning whiskey. All right, did you find it, you hear? All right, so let's hop into the comment section and talk to the people. You hear? Do we have any super chats? Oh my goodness!
It's
That
still
was
just
I
massive
forgot how. It honestly looks like his eye was like shot, and it's like blood coming out.
That's what I was like.
So impressive.
That's like Denzel Washington-esque, like being able to just have one tier.
one tier, and I just can't believe how big that tier is. It's still just like it doesn't make sense. Like I'm not like a scientist or like a doctor or anything, but it doesn't make sense.
You're right. I mean, that is why I forgot.
Like,
how
did he
big
hold
was
it in
until
for a
seeing it.
really long time? But I don't even think you can do that with the tier, unless you like close your eye. But his eye was open the whole time.
It was.
I don't know.
It's the most I've ever broken down a tier before. I
Yeah.
like it. All right, the Blind Swordsman with a super chat. Thank you. Says, yes, we can beat the Bills. # why not us? And that's kind of something that I wanted to make sure I wasn't prefacing this conversation with, was like, well, yeah, any given Sunday or
Yeah.
any given Monday night, because any team can beat anyone. I legitimately, though, think the Broncos have a real shot to beat the Bills with everything that we talked about.
Definitely. I mean, Bills will still be heavy favorites as they should be.
7.5 points. That's big.
Wow.
Yeah,
points.
but it's possible. You just need a couple turnovers, and you need the running game to be really good.
I wonder if that's the biggest spread in the NFL next week. Going through it right now, there's a 7-point game. Oh, no, there's a 15.5-point game.
Wow, who is that?
It's the Giants playing the Cowboys in Dallas.
Oh, it's like plus 625 on the Giants right now.
yeah,
too, huh?
yeah.
Oh, because Tyrod's out. Is he-
And
do we-
Daniel Jones
Exactly.
is out. He tore his ACL.
So I don't even know who their third string quarterback is. Would have
Yeah.
been Davis Mills. Yeah.
What do you mean would have been?
Wait. Now
Oh,
he's the
yeah,
Broncos
yeah,
quarterbacks
exactly.
coach.
Yeah, you're
They
right.
stole him, yeah.
You're right. But outside of that, the Broncos spread is the largest in the NFL.
No,
next
Davis
week.
Webb, sorry.
Davis Webb.
Davis
Yeah,
Webb,
that's why
yeah.
I was
That's why,
confused. I was
yeah,
like, the Texas
two
quarterback, what
Davises.
are you
It always
talking
takes
about?
me a second to Davis Mills, Davis Webb.
And speaking of two, we got 2 comments on the website that I want to hit. Bronco Tis says, question for Todd Davis. When the defense was struggling, it seemed communication on the field was an issue.
Yeah.
When Simmons came back, it feels like we've saw that improve. In your experience, was Simmons like the quarterback on defense, putting everyone in place? So that's the question.
Okay. Yeah, I think he definitely is. Like, he does a great job of communicating with guys. And for a little bit of time, he actually wore the green dot, so he would get the call in. But yeah, he does a great job of getting everybody lined up because there's so many checks that need to be made within certain plays. You have to have good communication. I will say, like, when he was out and even to start the season, I would see linebackers or corners turn around, like, trying to get everybody on the same page, and they just couldn't get it done before the ball was snapped. So it definitely looks like they're communicating more. And I think he even spoke about it in press conferences, like, the communication is just not good. It's not there. They're forgetting to communicate. So I think they're definitely playing at a much higher level now. And, you know, what's good is that this communication is going to become like nonverbal at some point to where he won't have to line guys up and tell them what their job is or what the play is going to. I remember, like, when you get continuity with your group, you kind of just look, we nod, and we already know, like, where we're going and where we need to be. So at some point, I think it's going to be really, really, really good communication, really, really nonverbal.
Yeah, and that's one of the that's one of the biggest things of K-Jack being out for 2 weeks, and now he's going to miss this Bills game as well with that suspension. Is, you know, no one was on a better nonverbal communication line with Justin than K-Jack.
Yeah, for sure. And then I think that, you know, also that poses a challenge because you forget, like, oh, I have to explain to this young guy, like, what I actually mean by, like, this thumbs up. Exactly. Like, because normally I just look over and be like this and we're ready, but I got to remember to explain what I'm thinking with this.
Yep. Exactly. I mean, I do think that that's a lot of it. So as you said, as Pat says, there's really only like 3 or 4 plays that you run on defense. But when there's trips to one side versus when you've got like doubles or whatever else, the assignments change though. It's like where you go, where you match, and you could explain it better than me, but there is every play, there's like 2 or 3 things that everybody needs to be on the same page for. Otherwise, somebody just winds up wide open. Yeah,
there's a lot of checks within plays, especially checks. Usually checks happen against formation or where, like, a key player's lined up. So, like, Travis Kelce in the slot versus Travis Kelce outside, that's 2 different plays.
Yep.
And you got to be aware of it and versus motion. And you got to also talk about, like, okay, in motion, when does it stop? Like, if he motions before the snap, you know, we're going to change it. If he's motioned as the snap is happening, okay, we can't change it. Like, there's a lot of things you got to be on point with, and all that comes with, like, good communication.
Exactly. And so then when you take Justin out, but then you also, like, put in Delarian Turner-Yell, like, that's somebody who might not even know his job. And so, I don't know. It is nice when you have guys who played so much together that, like you said, you can just give the thumbs up and be like, you know your job? Yeah, I know my job.
Yep.
But when you're bringing in guys who don't know their job and you don't have the guy who's in charge of, like, double checking, you give up 70 points.
Yep, exactly. Bronco Tiz says, also has a fun fact. He says, correct me if I'm wrong, but Mahomes has failed to throw a touchdown 7 times in his career. 3 of those against the Broncos. No other team has more than 1. And that is correct. That's pretty wild. Broncos have almost half of those.
Dang.
And we just know that the Broncos have Patrick Mahomes' number. Not only that, but the interceptions as well. Justin Simmons almost has more picks against Mahomes than any other team in the NFL. Yeah, Broncos have Mahomes' number.
Now.
Yeah, I guess one game.
We had his number. We were off 1 digit, and then we found out. You know, so
exactly.
we're good now.
And final comment from Onion Booty Bronco says, mop up the tears and shake your tail feathers. We beat the Chiefs. It still feels new to say. Can the bye week last forever? 3-5 never felt so good. It doesn't feel like we're talking about a 3-5 team. No.
Absolutely not.
Okay. I mean, that win against the Chiefs is just huge. It's so nice.
Yep.
Imagine where we'd be right now otherwise. Probably
2-6.
We would spend the whole show talking about Caleb Williams. It's like, does his draft stock change after, like, the team falls apart?
Yep.
And he cries after every game. And people in the chat are not happy with some of our opinions about that. But that's just the truth,
About his
though.
crying?
Exactly. But that's the thing, though, is like, when you're in an NFL locker room, you can't just be crying every game. Like, that can be, like, not what everybody wants to hear is like, no, people should let their emotions out. But that's just the truth, though, is like, it is like a leadership, like, very masculine, very, like, I don't know. It is what it is. Like, you need somebody who's strong. Like, what happens if the president cries? People get concerned when the president cries. Like, there's just like a way that you
we look
generally
soft
hold
as
yourself.
a country if the president is crying.
Exactly. If the president's crying, I'm thinking like,
Russia's attacking.
Exactly. Exactly. Like, it's all over here. Like, it's just not. It's cause for concern.
And if you're at your job and let's say you tried to get a promotion and then the higher ups come to you, it's like, hey, we went in another direction. You can't break down and cry right there because at some point there's going to be another opportunity.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You just got to be like, all right, I understand.
Yep.
You go to your car, you can cry, whatever you need to do, but you don't do it in that moment. I feel like.
And so much of playing football is just emotional control.
Yeah.
Like, you're out there and yesterday, the Dolphins and the Chiefs go up 21-0. You have to be able to throw all that aside and just start totally emotionally even. Mm-hmm. Have zero emotions at all and come back. And because they're able to do that, they're able to make it a game at the end. Like, controlling your emotions in like a world sense, not a great thing. Like, you have to like let things out and do that. When it comes to winning football games, like, there's just, it is what it is. And the truth
he played
is,
well, didn't he?
Oh, he played great.
Yeah,
he played great.
Yeah,
he had like 4 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Oh yeah,
right?
no, he
His
always
like
defense
plays
plays
350
terrible.
yards. Like
He's maybe had like one bad game. Like, you get why he's like upset, but at the same time, when you're leading a group of football players, like, you're in the locker room, like, it's just different. Like, there's just you need that sort of strength to be able to power through in those moments.
And when he played that well, I can understand if it was his fault that they lost the game or something. Like, you know what I'm saying? He threw the game-winning pick.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And they got a touchdown. Like, I understand. You're really, really emotional. Like, but you played great.
Yeah.
So the most you should be doing is cussing out every member of that defense.
That's
like, you know?
and there's other emotions too. Like, what does everybody say when Devontae Adams slams his helmet on the sideline? You have to hold those emotions in. Like, you can't be just like throwing things.
I
You
think
can't
with
be
that one, everyone was
I
saying,
guess people
"Man,
were on
yeah,
his side."
Josh McDaniels.
How about KJ Hamler when he throws his
There you
helmet?
go,
There
there
you
you
go.
go.
It's like, you can't be doing that. Like, you have to have your emotions in check. Like, that just comes with the territory in the NFL, is you need to be able to control your emotions. I get, like, he gets to the end of the game and so things change, but you don't want to look defeated. Like, you just can't look defeated. It's not a good look, and it's not going to change draft things all that much. Like, but it is.
There's a lot of things adding up.
You need to be strong emotionally, especially for somebody who has some concerns about those sorts of things.
Yeah, and I mean, just to hear Todd, a former player, say it, that speaks volumes. Just in terms of how that's viewed in a locker room, or could be viewed in a locker room.
Yeah, I think it goes for players and coaches. Like, even on Josh McDaniels' exit interview, you can't cry right there.
No.
Like, cry maybe after you speak to the press, but to sit up there and cry, or imagine if he got down and was like, "Where's my mom?" Like,
Exactly. Yeah, like that's
It's just
on
wild.
point. It's
All
tough.
right, no more crying on this podcast because we got to get out of here. The Rocky Show is next, so make sure to stay tuned to DNVR Sports on YouTube for that. And make sure to stay tuned all week. We're going to be going live Monday through Friday. We're giving you a Friday show this week, so make sure to stay tuned. We'll be back tomorrow on the DNVR Broncos Podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.